Hello, I'm Myron Davis, and I'm here with Samuel Brett Williams, the writer of The Woodpecker, along with Jon Cohn, the director. I want to start right in with a question that's a little bit aside from The Woodpecker. Theater in Los Angeles, why?
I think that LA is sort of one of the most diverse places in the world, one of the most diverse cities in the world, and I think there's an opportunity to tap into creative endeavors that reflect that diversity. Woodpecker actually was sent to me by Andrew Price and Clay Steakley. Several weeks after sending it to me, James Utt, who I forwarded it to, who's a company dramaturg for the Mutineer, said, "Dude, you gotta read this." I read it, you're right, called up Price and said, "Hey, let's talk." And after many, many conversations over several weeks, finally got introduced to Brett, and we decided to make it happen with Mutineer.
You know, it's a young kid in Arkansas, in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. He grows up in a trailer park, and he's basically with his father, and he's about to go to war. And we watch the last week, and he's at home. Then we watch him when he goes to the war, and then we see one last scene at the end, basically where he comes back and how he's different and how he's changed, and what essentially I guess he's lost on the way, and what he's gained as well.
The woodpecker in the story comes from a media event that happened actually in Arkansas.
It was an animal that was thought to be extinct, and you know, most people still actually think it is still extinct, but there was a sighting in Arkansas. Right when I wrote the play, I think I read the article in the paper and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because what happened was, they thought they'd seen this woodpecker, and then all these people came down from Cornell to search for the woodpecker. And once they got down there, I was talking to the locals when I went home to visit Arkansas, and they were saying that they wanted to keep the people there. They wanted to keep the Cornell professors there because they were buying all the really expensive wine, and they were putting all this money into the economy that had really kind of been dragging, you know, especially this area of the state. So I heard the locals at one point were even saying, yeah, I think I saw the bird over there. You know, I heard it yesterday, you know, and they were trying to propagate this myth. And there were people that firmly believed the bird existed. There were people that believed that it was all kind of just a hoax almost. I was really intrigued with the idea of the people who believed in it and the people who didn't believe in it. And really just kind of the idea of faith, you know, in terms of what people believe in and what they don't, you know, all facets of life.
Technical challenges. Oh, I think staging group combat scenes when somebody's in a wheelchair and in a trailer, I think has its inherent challenges. I think some of the stuff that happens in the prison with regard to one of the primary characters, the prisoner, and that you know, who's masked and shackled. I think those are very physical, technical things. What we try to do is approach all of those things from a very character, truth-oriented place.
What things do you think you nailed?
I think I nailed casting. Because a lot of it, I mean, I have to say, this is one of the most extraordinary casts I think I've ever worked with, and I think that probably one of the better casts on the stage this year. Arguably, that is, people will say that is the most important. Some people say 80, 90, 95, 98% of directing is casting. In this particular case, it is. I mean, I think it's absolutely my biggest strength as a director is putting this particular cast in these roles in this play at this point in time. One of the things that we've heard a lot is that the play is two different plays, and so we've heard that as praise, and we've heard that as a criticism.
I've always kind of seen this as a play in a room. You know, the first act's in one room, the second act's in another room, but I never saw those rooms as very different. I saw him kind of imprisoned in both acts. You know, we talked about how this is kind of no exit is the first act, and still no exit is the second act in a sense.
What's next for Samuel Brett Williams?
They're going to produce Woodpecker in Chicago, Steppenwolf's resident company, last year, 13 Pocket. And then I have a reading that's going to be directed by Alex Timbers at New York Theater Workshop, April 18th, of a play I have about a fraternity. And April 4th, I think, there's going to be a reading in the city of a play set at a racetrack that I wrote called Derby Day, which I'm really excited about.
We put all our time and energy, and we really tend to focus on 1 or 2 projects at a time, and take a lot of time with that. We don't really put up a full season. We focus sort of 1 at a time, and a lot of our energy, our resources, and sort of human resources as far as the company and otherwise. And
I think it's to the benefit of every show that you work on. You put everything into that show. I think it's evident. I think that the plays it's to the benefit of the plays.
I agree.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Brad, Jon.
Thanks, man.